Welcome everybody. I'm your tormented host, Michael. Um, I'm both a student at SAW and I also host a Linda Barry workshop on Wednesdays and an open studio on Mondays. Oh, I'm going to share something real quick. Um, yeah, I'm going to share this, which is if you love SAW, if you're an old SAW hand, or if you're new to SAW, we offer so many things, free workshops like this, and classes. You know, send us a few bucks if you like what we do. We also um, support other programs. We offer tuition to students in need. We do all sorts of. That's all. Okay, that was the message. Stop. And tonight we're here with Daryl, whose last name I'm afraid to mispronounce.
Seitchik.
Um, Say it again?
Seitchik.
Seitchik. Okay. Daryl Seitchik for the Bad Art Hour, where we're going to learn to make some bad art and discover things by embracing our mistakes. Daryl is a Vermont-based cartoonist and teacher whose work has appeared in the New Yorker as well as other publications, and she's been nominated for an Ignatz and Eisner Award. And I'm going to spotlight you and take it away, Daryl.
All right. Wow. Welcome, everyone. I'm just going to jump right in and share my screen. Welcome to the Bad Art Hour. Presenter view. Can you guys see my notes or just the screen? Just want to make sure. Okay, great. So, welcome to the Bad Art Hour, where we will learn to, wait, I can't see my notes. We will learn to embrace our mistakes. So, congratulations. You are now free of the burden of making good art for the entire evening. So, why is making good art such a burden? Because it can make us have too high expectations that prevent us from drawing anything at all, and then we feel blocked. But suppose you have these high expectations and you make art anyway, and it maybe doesn't meet those expectations. But so you're making bad art, but maybe you have fun while you're making it. And in the process, you may wonder if good art and if good art makes me feel bad and bad art makes me feel good, what even is good and bad? And then you will come to the ultimate revelation that there is no such thing as good art or bad art. There is just art. And that's what we're going to be making today. I tricked you into coming here. So our materials are very, very simple. All you need is a stack of paper, real physical paper. If you're drawing with an iPad, you can do that later, but right now you need real paper made from trees that you want to draw on. A pen or pencil, and anything else you want to draw with. Could be watercolors. Colors could be fun for this. Colored pencils, crayons, whatever you want. And that's it. So, do you want to take a minute and get those things? Maybe you already have them. And there are some rules for the Bad Art Hour. Rule number 1. No good art allowed. I don't want to see anyone trying to make good art here. So, lower your expectations. If something that you make turns out to be good art, that's totally fine. But please don't try too hard. Rule number 2, no erasers and no undo buttons. So we're going to try our hardest to not erase anything. No matter how hard we want to, we're going to resist the urge. And if you're working on an iPad later for the comics half of this class, don't use the undo button. I know it's tempting. Rule number 3, please be kind and respectful. So because we are making bad art, we might be a little bit less filtered with our imaginations, but that doesn't mean that we should be making fun of anyone for their race, sexuality, any part of their identity, whether or not they are in this class or not. So we want to be respectful of everyone. Number 4, make bad art. That's the ultimate rule. And have fun. All right. So let's get into it. So before we get into drawing bad art, I just want to talk a little bit about the history of the universe. So the universe, for those of you who are not familiar, is everything, and it includes space and time and your cats, your dogs. It is 13.8 billion years old, and it is still expanding. And before there was a universe, there was nothing. And then nothing got bored. And then bang, the universe. And 13.9 billion years later, the universe is still expanding from that first explosion. The Big Bang is still happening right now, and we are part of it. That's why I have this very scientific theory that every time we make art, we are recreating the Big Bang. Science. We start with nothing, we get bored, maybe a little frustrated, but the second we put pen to paper, bang, a universe. It took a little bit longer than a second to draw that, but you get the idea. So now we're going to do just that. Please pick out a piece of paper from your stack, and then crumple it up into a ball. It's going to feel satisfying. And then once you've done that, uncrumple it. And we're going to create our own Big Bangs. Yours may look different from mine. It might look like a spark or a dot or a scribble. Maybe it's even in color. And you may feel the urge to make your bang really big, but don't, because we want to have space around it for the stuff we're going to draw in our drawn universes. So drawn universes, that might sound kind of overwhelming. But you don't have to know what's going in it. You can just let the creases of the crumpled paper guide what you're going to draw. Think of it like when you're looking at the sky and you notice constellations. Our imaginations project images onto the chaos, connecting the stars to form images. That's Gemini. And now we're going to do just that. We're going to start with drawing our bang in the center of our paper in any way that you feel called to. And then from there, see what happens. Try to fill up the whole page. We're going to spend 10 minutes doing this. And please, if you feel called to listen to music, listen to music. I recommend the album Giant Steps by John Coltrane. I can also play it. I just don't know how well it'll show up here. Maybe we'll have some time for people to share. So for people who are just showing up, to repeat what we're doing right now, we are taking a blank piece of paper, and we are crumpling it up into a ball, uncrumpling it, and then we're recreating the Big Bang. So you're going to draw a little explosion in the middle of your paper, and then use the creases in the paper to help guide what will go in your drawn universe around the explosion. So I will share those slides one more time for those of you who need to see them. So this is my Big Bang. Start with a little explosion like this, and then use the creases to basically just doodle and see, find out what you can see on the piece of paper. And if anyone has any questions, you can put them in the chat or just call out. And no erasing. Yes, thank you. And once again, I recommend listening to music while you do this. So we'll do this for another like 2 to 3 minutes. And it's okay if you don't finish. And it's also okay if not everything is a thing. There can be just marks or shapes. All right. So it's 7:15. And there are a lot of people here. I was hoping that we could share, but it might be a little hard for us to do it individually. Maybe it would be cool if people who want to can hold up what they're doing and we can have a nice gallery view, and get a look at what everyone's been working on. You can just kind of peek out from behind to see what everyone's doing. Wow.
You can, I can't. Well,
Oh my goodness, this is so cool. And if you want to comment on what people are doing, you can do so in the chat. We got the full gamut here.
Take a
Awesome.
screenshot.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yes, I'll take a screenshot. There's 4 pages of people, so let me. Um, well, great job, everyone. So hold on to these because these are the maps of your drawn universes, and we're going to be coming back to them. And this is something you can do whenever you feel like you don't know what to draw. Crumpling up a piece of paper gets rid of the feeling that you're about to draw garbage because you just made the paper garbage anyway. You're free. All right, so you can keep working on this. I'm going to jump right into the main lesson of the evening.
I'm curious if other people found the same shape over and over again.
The same shape.
Yeah,
Did you find a particular shape?
Mine looked like a mouth or a leaf. And I was like, do I want another mouth?
Yes, mine was always a triangle with pants.
A lot of duck feet and chicken feet.
Hmm.
I'm very literal minded. I was drawing my cat who came up and started exploring, and then suddenly he knocked over. I thought he was being very charming. He knocked over the water I was using, and it actually landed on my computer. So I had to leave for a few minutes to mop everything up.
I banished my cat from this room so that he wouldn't disturb the lesson.
Mine began with a fart. Like God's fart.
Amazing. We got a lot in the chat too. Since there are 100 people here, I recommend sharing things that you drew or asking questions in the chat, because I think that everyone would love to see and hear. All right. Now for the main event. The secrets to making bad art. Just as before I go into anything, I just want to mention that any artist's work that I mention in this talk makes art that I greatly admire. And it is a huge honor to be included in this talk. So they're not bad artists, even though they're in the bad art talk. All right, so secret number 1 is move and keep moving. So the reason what we want to keep moving is because we want to keep moving with our pens and pencils is that we can get out of feeling blocked. When we feel blocked, it's hard to come up with ideas. And if we keep moving, eventually we get past our mental blockages and we can enter into the flow state. And that's where creativity happens.
So Daryl, we're seeing your notes.
Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
Let me try that again. Can you see them now?
The notes are really helpful.
That's good. Can you still see them?
No.
Yeah, no, we can't see your notes
Okay,
anymore.
good. I'm sorry. I don't want them to block the images though. So, because you get to see stuff like this. So as I was saying, we want to get into the flow state by moving. And the easiest way to get into the flow state is by entering the stream of consciousness. Literally writing or drawing anything that comes into your mind without judgment. You don't have to show anyone. There are even some writers who are famous for this technique, like Virginia Woolf and James Joyce. And also cartoonists like Liana Fink, the queen of straight to ink. And by straight to ink, I mean that she just draws without like she doesn't pencil anything before. She just takes a permanent pen and just goes for it. And that's a great way to keep moving. She recently had a baby, so there's a lot of great drawings on her Instagram of her experience with that. And if these were like perfect drawings and she had this idea in her mind of how they were going to look before she drew them, they just wouldn't be nearly as interesting as what her hand came up with. This is a page by Mickey Zakili. And Mickey Zakili could have just drawn, filled this whole top spot with purple, like flat purple. But instead we get this beautiful energetic scribble. And that can only come if you keep moving. So Ebony Flowers also speaks of the advantages of spontaneous creative practice by when she's moving forward with creative projects. This is a quote from her. I drew the story My Sister Lena in the book Hot Comb in a process that mimicked free writing. Whenever I wasn't sure of how the story would proceed, I drew individual scenes from multiple perspectives on index cards. I also worked out some of the main characters' life and mannerisms using daily drawing and writing practices. And this is the result, which is a really cool way to pace a comic. And I love how the writing and the hair, the individual hairs kind of look like each other and create this nice bouncy effect. Comics are movement across the page. So, secret number 2, embrace your mistakes. Give that scribble a hug, because when you're embracing your mistakes, you're embracing the unknown, and you're going to surprise yourself. When you do try to embrace your mistakes, you will confront your inner critic. This is what mine looks like. She's kind of snobby. She lives in New York City. I live in Vermont, but my inner critic lives in New York City, and she wears turtlenecks. I don't wear turtlenecks. And this is my inner artist. She's very free-spirited. She talks to flowers and bunnies. And this is what happens when they interact. You call that art? Oh, where'd she go? It is my beautiful mud blob. This is what I have to go through every day. So my inner critic was born in 1998. I was born in 1989, so I was about 8 years old when my inner critic was born. And it was when I got really into reading Archie comics, and I really wanted to draw like the Archie comics. And so I got out a piece of paper and I drew this. And this was my first comic ever. And I finished the drawing and I thought, this looks nothing like Archie. And I was devastated. But now I look at this page and I think this is great. And so many of the ways that I failed to imitate Archie informed how my style would turn out, which ended up looking nothing like Archie comics. The ways that we fail to imitate what we admire ends up informing what our style can be. This is another comic I did like 20 years later. And I spilled water on the writing and I was like, oh shoot, what am I gonna do now? But then I realized, hey, it kind of works with the tone of the comic, and it's like taking place in water. I kind of like it. And then I ended up doing the whole comic like that. Wasn't intentional, but it was a happy accident. So this is pages by John Porcelino, who draws my favorite cartoon cars ever. They don't look like real cars, and that's why I love them. And things don't have to look like how they are in comics, especially because we want to simplify. We want to convey things using symbols, and sometimes drawing what the idea of something looks like is better than trying to draw realistically. And simplicity can be really elegant and beautiful. So one more note about embracing our mistakes. This is Liana Fink again in her graphic memoir, Passing for Human. So Liana Fink started drawing Passing for Human. She started with a chapter 1. And chapter 1 goes on for like 20 pages, and then she draws chapter 1 again, and it's a totally different story. The entire book ends up being 5 different chapter 1s. And I love that. It becomes a book that's a collection of different ways to tell the same story. And that can only happen when you embrace your mistakes and really think outside the box. So embrace your mistakes. And secret number 3, waste paper, because nothing is wasted, but recycle too. So when I say nothing is wasted, I mean that everything you draw will end up, or anything you write, anything that you do that's creative will end up showing up later in some way. For example, when I used to work at this job all the time, when I was bored, I would draw these bunnies on scrap paper, like over and over again. I had no idea why. They were like haunting me. Bunnies everywhere. I have a whole box of pages of these drawings of bunnies. And then like 2 or 3 years later, I realized I could turn these bunnies into characters in a webcomic. So now they're bunnies that live on the moon. And I'm so glad that I saved those pages. So those are the 3, there's more secrets, but I'm going to stick with those 3 for now to making bad art. 1, keep moving. 2, embrace your mistakes. And 3, waste paper, because it's not really wasted. And I'm going to close my TED Talk with a quote by the lovely Linda Barry, who I can't go through this talk without mentioning. To be able to stand not knowing long enough to let something alive take shape, without the 2 questions, is this good? Does this suck? So much is possible. To all the kids who quit drawing, come back. And I'll add, to all the kids who are still drawing, keep drawing. So now we're gonna, I'm gonna introduce our next thing that we're gonna be drawing and doing. I recently started doing something called the morning pages, and maybe you've heard of it. It's an idea that the artist Julia Cameron came up with, where you write 3 pages of stream of consciousness writing every morning, the second you wake up, every single day. She says, when people ask, why do we write morning pages? I joke, to get to the other side. They think I'm kidding, but I'm not. Morning pages do get us to the other side of our fear, our negativity, and our moods. Well, I really like doing the morning pages and I found them really helpful. So I thought I would take that and then kind of steal the idea and turn it into something cartoonist related. So tonight, we're going to be making night panels. And it's a lot like morning pages, except that we're going to be drawing. And I don't have my iPad with me, so I'll just say, we're going to be drawing, okay, we have a half hour left. Okay, we're gonna do a 6-panel grid, and that's what this looks like. For those of you who know, you can start drawing a 6-panel grid. This is a 6-panel grid. And we're going to work 1 panel at a time. I want you to look at your drawn universe that we made earlier and notice the things that really stick out to you, things that you might want to draw again. And we're going to spend 4 minutes just drawing in the first panel. Yeah, and your grid can suck. My grid sucks. They don't use a ruler. Just that's not what this is about. So you can make your orientation like this or like this. If it's like this, your first panel is going to be right here. And if it's up here, it's going to be this one. Yeah. So I'm going to set my timer. And again, if you want to listen to music, I encourage it. You don't need to know what is coming after this panel. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about making a story. We're just trying to follow the stream of consciousness. You can look to your galaxy of drawings for reference and inspiration. Does anyone have any questions before we get started? What is the first panel? So the first panel is whatever you want. You're going to draw whatever you want in the first panel, and you can take inspiration from the warm-up exercise that we did. Or not, you can draw something completely different. And you don't have to be setting up a story, because I just did this exercise with a bunch of kids and they ended up doing 6 different scenes in each panel. It doesn't have to make sense. So without further ado, 4 minutes, just panel number 1 and no erasing. Go.
Sorry, I get lost. I'm not sure what we have to draw. Can you repeat, please?
Of course, yes. So right now we have drawn a 6-panel grid that looks like this.
Yes, I'm there.
Okay, and then we're just focusing on the first panel, so you don't have to worry about anything else, just panel number 1. We're drawing basically whatever you want in the first panel. We're doing a stream of consciousness. So it could be a flying pizza, doesn't matter.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. And you can look at your at the warm-up drawings that we did earlier. This is one I did on real paper for inspiration. Someone did do a flying pizza. Wow, mind meld. We're about halfway through. We have 2 more minutes left of the first panel. One minute. 20 seconds. All right, congratulations. You have finished the first panel of your Stream of Consciousness Bad Art comic. And now we're moving on to panel number 2. You will also get 4 minutes for this panel, and it may or may not be connected to the one that came before it. That's up to you. You may decide to go in a completely different direction. Remember, no erasing. Ready and begin. And if you feel stumped about what to draw, just look at your doodles that you did earlier and pick something from there. Two minutes. Oh, 20 seconds, sorry. I got caught up drawing. All right. All right. So congratulations on finishing panel number 2. If you are not happy with what you've drawn so far, that's okay, because we're going to keep working through it. And even if you don't like what you've come up with by the end of this whole class, that's okay too. You don't have to be happy with everything that you draw. All right. So panel number 3, we're going to cut the time to 3 minutes instead of 4 minutes. So get ready and begin. One minute left. Fifteen seconds. All right. We are halfway done our weird comics. How are people feeling?
I'm cracking myself up.
Amazing. I feel great.
If you feel like you're banging your head against a wall, that's okay too. I'm seeing a mix of emotions in the chat. That's just part of the process. All right. So we're gonna move on now to panel number 4. And we're gonna do this one for 3 minutes as well. So can start now. 2 minutes. One minute. $20. Time passes and the universe just keeps expanding. All right. 4 panels. Congratulations. I'm glad that some of you are cracking yourselves up. That's the ultimate goal, I think. So, I'm sorry to do this, but for panel number 5, I'm only going to give you 2 minutes. So, have fun. Starting now. One minute left. Thirty seconds. All right. This is it. This is the last panel. Panel number 6. And I'm going to be generous and give you, okay, it's 7:51. I'm going to give you 4 minutes on the last panel, so you can have a nice smooth ending. All right, begin. Two minutes. One minute. Yeah. All right, congratulations. You did it. You drew a whole page of comics in under 20 minutes, I think. I'm not really good at math, but it wasn't a lot of time. I'm drawing my last panel in like 3 seconds because I've been keeping the time. If that makes you feel any better. It is like doing a jam comic with yourself. Yes, I saw that in the chat. That is a good point. I highly recommend doing jam comics with other people too, if you can find willing participants. So, There are a lot of us. I can show you what I did. I did mine while keeping the time, so it's especially bad. um, it's about a bunny. I want to be free, but wait, I can't even read it in my screen. How do I? Okay, but I'm stuck in this bunny body. Maybe I should turn into a tortoise. Then I wouldn't have to run around all the time. Sigh. I drew it in each panel in a couple seconds because I was keeping the time, but maybe it'll make you feel better about your own stuff. So there are a lot of us, and I would love to see what people did. Maybe we can do what we did for the first thing and hold up our drawings. And just take a look at what everyone did. Wow, these are beautiful. These are so cool. Seeing the whole gamut of styles. I'm curious if you guys want to put in the chat if you ended up surprising yourselves and if this is something that you would want to do again. Or if there's anything that you like a mistake that you made that you ended up like making like a focal point of the story if you made a story. Felt very ambigory. Oh, we got different materials too, some in color. Amazing. So congratulations on finishing your first night panels. Let's make it a thing. It's good for you. It's like eating your vegetables, but for your imagination. And maybe it tastes bitter. Maybe you don't like broccoli, but it's still good for you. And it's more fun than eating broccoli. So thank you all so much for coming and for joining me today for this very first Bad Art Hour. And maybe I'll host another one at some point. So this was a lot of fun. There are a lot of you, but does anyone have any, like, now that time's up, does anyone have any like questions or anything? I don't know.
Thank you. That was just wonderful. We really loved it. I had so much fun. It was a great way to end the week.
Oh, I'm glad that you had fun. That's great.
Yeah.
Thank
That's a
you.
good point.
Thank you so much, Daryl.
Oh, it was wonderful.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Daryl.
Coming, guys. Keep
Thank
going.
you.
Thank you. That was fun.
Come again.
Thank you.
Come back.
Admit the
Thank
press
you.
button is a little
Thank
loud,
Post your stuff on the internet so we can see it.
but is it still hashtag Friday Night Comics?
Yeah, do hashtag Friday Night Comics and hashtag Bad Art Hour. Why not?
Hashtag Bad Art Hour. Good for you.
Make it a new hashtag.
Daryl, do you know the Museum of Bad Art?
I actually just found out about it while I was making this talk, and it seems pretty interesting.
I once went to an auction of their rejected stuff. So the question was it too bad or not bad enough?
That is a really, yeah, maybe it wasn't bad enough. That just reminded me, there's a really great article that I wanted to share with people. So those of you who are still here get to see it. Link in the chat. This talks about how we get pressured to make good art, especially if we're trying to be professionals. And that's really besides the point of what it means to be creative. Because being creative is about the process, it's not about the product. And it's about making something that comes to life, which is hard to do when you have to think about packaging it before you've even made it.
Michael and I were just talking the other day about drawing your favorite comics as children. And I said like it was good enough. He's like, it was never good enough. So it's funny that you said both today.
Yeah, it's kind of as a kid, it's like disappointing. But then if you get to keep those comics, you're just like, wow, this is like some of the greatest art that I've ever made. I wish I could still draw like that. And if you want to do another page, go do another page. But I guess is the show over now, Michael? Is there anything else you wanted to say?
Oh, well, I don't know. There's still people here.
Yeah, there's like 50 people here.
You know,
We just like hanging out.
people just don't want to go anywhere.
If people want to stick around, I have one more exercise that we can do.
Oh, cool. Excellent.
Okay. Because
Yeah,
I always end up over planning for these things. If people want to stick around, I was going to open this class with something called a blind contour drawing. So you can get out another piece of paper, and since we're on Zoom, we have a million mirrors. Basically, a blind contour drawing is when we're going to do self-portraits, just because otherwise people have to give each other permission to draw each other. And that's a lot. So look at yourself, and there's a few options, and you can try all of them. Draw yourself without looking at the page and without lifting your pen from the page. That's why it's called a blind contour drawing, because you can't see what you're drawing. That's option number 1. Option number 2 is to do that and with your non-dominant hand. If you're ambidextrous, don't worry about it.
Are there any suggestions for where to start your drawing? Like in your armpit or?
I always start with, I don't think there's a right or wrong way to do it. I feel like I usually start with my face shape.
You said close your eyes, right?
No, you don't close your eyes, because you're going to look at yourself. You can see yourself. Hopefully, you may have to do some searching, but you can see yourself on the screen.
Okay.
I think you can maybe, I don't know if you can see yourself up close. So you'll see yourself in a little box. And yeah, and then you're going to look at yourself and not look down at your paper. So your eyes are open. You're just not looking down at your paper.
Oh, you're not looking down at the paper. Wow.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you should be able to pin yourself so you see yourself larger. It's over next to, where is it? Like next to the mute, there's 3 little dots in your upper right corner, at least on my screen. And then you can pin yourself so you can see yourself better.
Thank you, Sally. Yes. You can pin yourself, which will make your face bigger.
Horrifically larger.
Yes. And maybe if people are there it is fun to draw other people's faces. So if you want, I mean, I don't want to, after you finish your portrait you don't want to be drawn, maybe hide your camera or something, but it could be a nice opportunity for people to draw each other's faces. And don't post them on the internet or anything. They probably won't end up looking like the person because they're blind contour drawings. Ooh,
I think I did okay.
No, these are impressive. Nice.
I used my opposite hand.
Oh, you did the gauntlet.
I didn't capture how I look, but I did capture how I feel.
Oh, there you go. That's art. I feel like they always end up looking like what's that artist's name? That Egon Schiele.
I think this actually looks more like me than if I tried drawing myself.
Ooh.
And looking.
Yeah, these are really cool. I like how Valerie's you did like just the face connects everything. There's no, like, you don't see the lines of the shape of the face, but it's cool what you end up having to leave out when you don't lift your pen. Wow. These are, I mean, I don't like to say better, but they're better than the ones I did earlier today.
I've kind of drawn my inner anxiety tonight.
Oh, well, I'm glad you got it out a little bit. So I had, what was the other one? There was non-dominant hand, and then yeah, then there's just drawing other people. So if you don't want to be drawn, you can you can stop your video. But otherwise, this is a great opportunity to look at other people's faces. And if you don't want to do the blind contour for them, you don't have to. But it could be fun.
That's great.
Are most people here from Gainesville or from all over? Where are people from?
New York City.
All over.
City, all
All
over.
over.
Brooklyn.
All over heck.
Brooklyn.
Wales.
Wow.
Wow.
California.
Montreal.
Amazing.
California.
California, Berkeley.
I'm in Denver. I'm at the press club right now. There are a lot of journalists around, and I'm the only one with watercolors. And I'm eating chocolate, vegan stuff.
And I know some people are starting to head out, so thanks for being here if you are heading out. And thanks for sticking around. For those of you who are sticking around.
Well, thank you so much for leading us through this work, Dylan. It was a lot of fun.
This is one of my favorite things to do. So, and oh, I might as well plug so I teach art classes to children virtually through the Center for Cartoon Studies every week on Saturdays for kids ages 8 to 12 and teens ages 13 through 16. And I'll find a link and put that in the chat too if you have any youngsters that would like to take classes with me. But I have to find it. Self-promotion.
Great slides, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, slideshows are basically just comics, if you think about it.
Daryl, is this recognizable?
Yes, that looks just like me, especially the bunny.
I did a bunch of you guys. I don't know if you can see. I'm really bad at getting the chin in without looking at the page. And then I also kind of cheated a little bit because I kept catching myself looking down by accident.
They look awesome.
They look
like
great.
an album cover or something.
It should be.
Colors are really cool.
The 10% glance method. I love that.
The peripheral vision.
So in art classes, I was always told my blind contour drawing showed my perfectionism. So I've spent a lot of time since then in the last decade, just like, just do it. So it's funny you said they look like Egon Schiele because I try to start my paintings with at least 2 blind contour drawings hidden beneath and see if maybe they get channeled by the end. So that's really cool. Thanks.
Oh, that's awesome. And again, I feel like there, so especially with like drawing versus painting, when you're drawing, it's like it's really easy to be spontaneous, and then painting is when you tend to overwork things. And by you, I mean everyone. So like that's such a cool idea to like use like contour drawing as a way to like guide your painting. It makes it come to life a little bit more. Yeah, I haven't even done one blind contour drawing yet. I cheated just now.
I went back to my Big Bang because there was so much left to do.
I was excited that mine said this page intentionally left blank in the middle. Scratch paper.
Does anyone want to share their comics now that there's a little bit less people here?
I would like to share something, but it's not the comic. I'm gonna hop off in a second, but if I may, I like when you said the ways we fail to imitate what we admire, it forms our own style. So right when you did that, I tried to do like speed drawings of Calvin and Hobbes and Tintin and Captain Haddock.
Amazing.
And that kind of, I feel like that gave me permission to make bad art.
Oh,
So,
that's great.
So I think that's something that, like with the Archie comic you showed.
Vernon, you said that you were cracking yourself up, so I want to see what you made.
Oh, okay. There's all these triangles with pants, and then they get scooped up by a hand, and they're all going "Whoo!" And then it turns out it's all on TV, and this guy says, "Hey, what are you watching?" And the guy watching it is crying and going, "Nothing you would understand."
That's awesome. Wait, hold it up one more time. I just want to see the page spread. Cool. And I like how it's like he's like this character's like shouting up from the bottom panel. It's a really cool way to lead into the next moment. There's a lot of cool moments here. That scoop, that hand scooping.
I love them hanging out in the first panel.
That was the one where I thought, oh, my grid sucks and I love it because I started it this way and then I ran out of room by the end, and it was like, well, let's just flip it upside down.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that's awesome. And it's cool that you took the 6-panel grid and made it 2 separate pages too. That's a cool way to do it.
But I for some reason before logging in, I just folded all the paper I had into zines, and then when you said to crumple it up, I was like, oh no. This is harder now.
Crumpled zine. A well-loved zine. Does anyone else want to share?
Well, I also cracked myself up. So I had this character in the Big Bang, and I thought he was a shadow. But then he got up, and then he got sunburnt.
Oh, is it behind you right now?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
He got sunburnt. Oh, yeah, you can't really see it. He wakes up, and then it gets really gruesome.
Whoa.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Did you draw this?
It's not usually my style though, so that's why it was making me laugh.
It's a beautiful and gory comic. Did you use markers?
Yeah, I've got kids and we have all these markers that are about to die, so that's what I've been coloring with.
Oh, well, that's perfect for a gory comic.
Exactly.
Markers that are about to die. Thanks for sharing.
Thanks for the inspiration.
Oh, of course. That's what I'm here for. You guys,
Can I
everyone,
share too? So I've never drawn anything really. Like I only just started picking up a pencil like last week and I came across you. So I've never done a 6-panel thing. I've never done cartoons, and I don't know what my mind was thinking, but I love it. Can you see? None of it really makes sense to me, which is even better.
This hand plant thing.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. It started off as a cactus and then it turned into a hand person.
Wow.
Cool.
So I love every little. Wait, hold it up one more time. I want to see that. So there's a. Ooh, like those buildings off in the distance. There's like a toilet growing out of the ground.
Yeah.
And then we see the toilet maybe in its former environment. And the toilet paper is alive, it seems.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's angry.
And nice shading. I find it hard to believe that you haven't drawn until like very recently.
I know, really.
Thank you. I had this weird idea that I wasn't creative for ages, so I just decided to bust that open, and look at me, I can draw hand people.
Exactly. That's a quote for the ages.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to share? Thanks all for sticking around. it's nice to be able to like see what people are doing. It was a little bit too big before, so
I'll show.
yeah, go for it.
My panel, okay. So there's a turtle flying and a fish. And the turtle says, "No one knows, but I can fly at night." And the fish goes, "Weird." And then the fish goes, "The turtle made me realize I too can fly at night." And the turtle is sticking out. He goes, "Good for him."
Oh, that's great.
And then the fish says, "Hey, I see you." And the turtle goes, "Oh shit, so?" And then the fish goes, "So we both know we can fly at night." And the turtle goes, "Yeah, now what?" And then the fish goes, so you know what we have to do, right?" And the turtle goes, "I think so." And then they're both flying together. And it says, "This will just remain our little secret, right?" And the turtle goes, "My lips are sealed."
Oh, that's so cute. I feel like that could be a children's book or something.
Which is not my style.
It's
Which
a
is
secret
cool.
style. It's a
Yeah, I
secret style
guess.
that's kept between you, the fish, and the tortoise.
Right. Thanks. It was fun. It was fun.
Thanks for sharing. Love the colors too.
Could I go? I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Hey. So, my first one was just like I feel like maybe like I don't know some kind of universe being like in like it's like amorphous sky thing, and then there's like this like eye like blasting down and like annihilating the planet, and then there's like this like rainbow that doesn't have any colors in it that just says "you wish." And there's a person looking, they're going, "Where are those beans?" Then I ran out of space. So it's like, I never can find a dang thing in here, but it's like all over the place. And then it's a person like holding like a Budweiser saying like, "I'm parched." It's like funny. I don't know. And then there's like two people like wandering around like the Philadelphia Art Museum is back there. They're like, "I got a piece of that." And they're like, "Oh, maybe find a piss palace." And that's it.
Wait, maybe what was the last line?
Maybe find a piss palace. I don't know.
Oh wow, that sounds like a comic set in Philly.
Yeah.
As someone who used to live in Philly, it has the vibes. That's the colors in that comic are awesome.
Really are.
I can see it being like silk screened or something.
Was the rainbow with the "you wish"? What?
I can see that.
Was the rainbow with the "you wish" more like "you wish" or like an invitation, like "you wish"?
What do you want it to be? If you wish, it's whatever you wish.
So cool. Thanks for sharing.
I'll go on the color train.
Yeah.
So I just have a big bin of markers that I haven't used in a bazillion years. So I just brought them all out, and then it didn't really make a story at all. But so this was the first panel, and then this was inspired by your little the Archie comic, because with the two opposite side colors mixing. And then
yeah.
kind of a conversation, but I didn't write anything. And then I was just drawing this star, and then I added, like the sunglasses, and then this just says fart. I guess it kind of could be a story. And then there's a bunch of fire, and then I didn't like how this how the colors were mixing in this panel, so I just wrote "avert your gaze" on top of it.
Oh, I like the way the colors are mixing in that one. They look kind of like a mood ring or something.
Yeah, well, it's kind of it's like an Ouroboros, like a snake eating itself. But then I added too many layers to it, so the snake form became less distinguishable.
Ooh, it's like an alchemical comic.
Yeah.
It's like an alchemical process.
I have been looking at old like devil drawings or whatever from like Hieronymus Bosch.
Oh, I love Hieronymus Bosch.
Yeah.
Look at that. The Garden of Earthly Delights Forever.
Yeah. I wish I had like a big poster of that in my house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks. This was very fun.
Thanks for sharing. And so someone said, let's all be friends on Instagram. If people want to put their handles in the chat, so you totally should. I'll put mine in too. Does anyone else want to?
I have like wonky internet, so it's hard to see anything.
It's hard to see?
Oh, there. I guess you put me. Lost my clothes. This is my Big Bang. But I kept working on it. You know, I didn't do this in the time they gave us. I did this instead of line contours. This is supposed to be Rana. I was thinking of unicorns.
That's beautiful.
Oh man, you need to put that on a t-shirt. That was amazing.
And then this was the comic. I took this from the Big Bang. There's a silhouette of a wolf behind a tree. And then, I don't know, it just kept getting closer and closer. And then he gets his jaws around the earth. It's too big for him to handle. And he drops it and walks away.
Wow.
That's great.
What is he saying in panel 2, Michael?
Lump gurgle.
Wolf talk.
Did you use
He's
a
hungry.
brush or a pen?
I used a Tombow brush pen and then a Pentel brush pen for the bigger stroke.
Wow. Beautiful lines.
Thank you.
It's like a
Well, we've
funny
been doing
and
the Linda
comic.
Barry work together for 9 months, so I've learned to draw quickly and shut my brain off.
Yep, that's the key. Turning your brain off, or turning your inner critic voice off. This is closer to the size of the classes I usually teach. Does anyone else want to share? Tim, you're raising your hand up. Your icon
I'd
hand.
like to share mine. I love the beginning with the crumpled paper. It kind of reminded me, years ago, I saw a Zoom class where the teacher suggested getting or she had these photos of cracks in the sidewalk, and from those cracks she created characters. So from the crumples, I created this guy. I don't know what it is. Can you see it?
Yeah, you don't have to know what it is. It'll tell you at some point.
And then the next panel, there was the other character that was in there.
Whoa.
Nice.
It's like they were close and far away and real close. And then real far away. I don't know.
It's like vibes.
Yeah, I love the crumpled paper thing. It just got me going.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm glad that worked.
Thanks.
Thank you. That comic looks awesome. I like how you let the mark making tell the story.
Your characters remind me of like when you look at something under a microscope and you can see all like the little cells moving around in like the membrane.
Yeah, I was thinking it was like a microbial misconnection. Like they just seem to be passing by each other.
That's the name of a comic strip. Microbial misconnection.
That's great.
Thank you so much for this workshop. Have a great night, everybody.
Thanks for being here.
So, what's the hashtag going to be if we want to share these on Instagram?
Friday Night Comics. And if you want to start a Bad Art Hour hashtag, you can do that too. I haven't started one yet, but we can start one. So thank you guys. So people have to go. Of course, this class ended a half hour ago, so you can go. But if I can stick around for a little bit longer if people want to keep sharing. So
I'll show you mine.
Yeah, let's see.
So the
oh, upside down. The universe made me, like Michael, I thought of beings that left this planet and became stars. And so when I did my comic, I just took them from there. So these are, this is walk, don't worry, and watch. And what is that? Wonderful. And wish away.
That's such a cool constraint to like think of one word that like works for every panel. And they all have like begin with W, which creates a nice like unified theme or like sound for everything.
Nice.
It's like a poem.
Thank you for that. I would never have done it. Thank you.
Nice.
That's wonderful to hear. Yeah, if you surprised yourselves, then I've done my job. Anyone else want to share?
May I also share?
Sure.
Oh, all right. Hi. Well, when we were doing the Big Bang drawing, I was like, okay, I'm gonna base this comic off of the Big Bang drawing. So first we have a really kawaii Big Bang, just a boom, and then just circulates to Kirby just yelling, "Oh my gosh, that Big Bang is super kawaii!" And then it's just Tails and this little goblin thing I created that just try to, I don't know, destroy the kawaiiness. And then Kobe's like, do not destroy the kawaiiness. So she decides to inhale the little monsters that try to eat the kawaiiness. I don't know. But then Kobe just chomps on the monster and
when he's chomping on the monster.
And Kobe just is like, the Big Bang's like, oh my gosh, you're so kawaii. And then Kobe's like, huh? I'm kawaii? And then they hug, and that's really it. And they're friends now, I guess.
That's amazing. I love how you took the concept from the exercise and then made it your own as a story. Very, very cool. Thanks for sharing.
I'll share mine.
Yeah, go for it.
I was late, so I missed the beginning with the Big Bang, so I didn't have that to work off of. Probably all my letters are backwards to you guys, or
they're not.
No.
Oh, okay. So the first panel is just me saying I love getting permission to make bad art, and that this counts for extra credit. And then the second one is, for example, good comics aren't just a bunch of talking heads. They use pictures to tell a story, and the pictures and the words don't do the same thing in good art. So then this is attempt at redemption. My husband hates these salt and pepper shaker dogs, but I love them.
Oh.
They're blue porcelain and they're old timey. This is the back side. The middle dog is for a mystery condiment and has a spoon slot.
They're so cute.
And then the judge says bad drawing of this. So jam, mustard, breakfast option, lunch option. And then in the end, I guess my drawings of jam and mustard and other things would be better using references. So I quick did a Google search of Grey Poupon, and then it's not cheating.
No, yeah, it's not cheating to use references. Definitely not. I think they're really important to use when you need them. Like, I could not draw a horse without looking at a picture of a horse. So. And yeah, another thing about bad art that I forgot to bring up is that there's no such thing as good and bad art, because when you make something, it's like you're taking care of a plant, and the plant isn't a good or bad plant. It's just something that you're nourishing because it's part of your creativity. And, you know, give it more sunlight, give it more water, give it its plant food. And there's no such thing as a bad plant. It's just alive. Anyone else want to share? All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. And I hope that you keep drawing, maybe continue the night panels tradition. And if you do, I would love to hear how that goes. I'm just getting started doing it myself, so it's really an experiment, along with the morning pages. And
But is that,
yeah,
Daryl, is that what you call them? Night panels, not night pages, night panels.
night panels. If you want to do pages, you can do pages too. I just thought we'd still.
Oh, no,
start
I just
small.
want to get the concept right.
Yeah, so thank you all for being here and keep drawing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Daryl.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you again.
Yeah.
Great job. You did a great job.
Everyone.
Good night,
Nice
everybody.
meeting you guys.
Good night.
Good night.